upon our getting to this post was that our intent, or the administration's intent, is to be very open and transparent to the public and provide information as important as, because for us, we believe whatever we do, the public next week, hopefully we'll have someone from another county. And we're trying our best, and we're also working in line with the local radio stations, and content from these engagements can generally be forwarded to them. We look forward to covering Liberia. Like I said, our goal is to have at least 80% of the population be aware of the happenings within the presidency. Um, so the week has been a busy week as always for His Excellency the President. And as always, he had been working to ensure that his commitment, his policy, his work, his view and vision of transforming Liberia, rescuing the country is achieved. So he continuously been meeting with different partners of the population who are able to, support his agenda, support his idea. Different partners from all walks of life have been trooping in to share their ideas on ways in which His Excellency agenda can be achieved. Specifically, some of you were here yesterday or last evening. We had a special press briefing concerning the situation in Grand Cape Mount County. Just to update you, His Excellency has been briefed about the current status, and he was informed that calm has been restored. His team that he set up, they've gone there to be able to ascertain, the full understanding of what actually happened and what are the issues and how he intends to ensure that those issues are brought under control. Everyone, and we were informed by the team that the police right now at the moment they're doing community engagement to ensure that calm is restored, information are brought factually to His Excellency. Um, Also, the formation of the government is continuing. As you know, every week the president does the appointment of people he believes that they're competent and good enough to contribute to his agenda and ensure that his agenda is achieved. Um, also this week there was a special cabinet meeting held, particularly on yesterday, and the meeting was in twofold to get briefing from his confirmed cabinet ministers on the status of the 100-day deliverable, and they were able to report to him about what they've been able to do and ideas they've had, and how that is proceeding. Uh, he also, the meeting also talked about the situation in Cape Mount, and it was at that meeting that he sent his team to be able to get a full understanding, inclusive of the sector ministries and agencies, as well as the Liberian National Police. Um, Also, during the course of the week, His Excellency had a very good meeting with the CEO and members of the delegation of the African Eastern Mediterranean Basin Company. This is a parent company of Cimenco. As you all may know, Cimenco is one of Liberia's leading cement producing company, and the meeting was very fruitful, and there were conversation around what support expansion, especially so in the areas of job opportunity and creation for at-risk youth and general population. His Excellency also spoke to the team around the need for investigating and showing that local Liberian produce or goods or things that are able or they could be used in the production of cement be studied. For example, we're told that Liberia may have some form of deposit of granite that is needed to, develop cement and other cement related products. So, I mean, their conversation around investigating more on that, and their interest also was in the educational sector in terms of science and technology for our young people. The meeting also looked at environmental sustainability because we know the cement industry also has some environmental implication, and the chief executive of the country was very much interested in knowing how they're able to ensure that whatever activities they're intending to do must be environmentally friendly, and that they're able to do that for our people. Um, Also, this week, His Excellency had a very good meeting via telephone with the Vice President of the United States of America, Madam Kamala Harris, through a call, like I said. And during that call, they talked about a number of things, but she congratulated His Excellency on his ascendancy to the presidency and the level of work he's already started doing. And most importantly, she talked about the need for the United States investment in the private sector and how they're looking to working with Liberia towards that end. As some of you may be aware that the United States government has committed around 8 billion investment for private sector investment in Africa. And she also commented on that Liberia, based on all of the criteria that once the country has met, there's a possibility of working along those lines. And His Excellency was very excited and also expressed his support and interest in that and in follow up with the team here, particularly the United States Embassy near Monrovia. Um, Again, His Excellency this week signed his first act. Um, as you all remember, his request to the legislature about the 41 million, and it was an act that was authorized by the government of the Republic of Liberia to spend the 41 million. As you know, the House passed the law and the Senate concurred, and then the president has signed that into law, so it's officially law. So I can even give you a view. Those of you who have this is the act that authorized the government for that spending. Um, so this morning, the president also had a meeting with her team from the United States, particularly on they call the City Sisterly City International and the Library for Africa. These organizations are interested in working with sister city relationship in building that network and see how they can support Liberia's interests, particularly the Monrovia and those cities in the US. With the Library for Africa, they're currently working on modalities to construct a public library in Lower Montserrado for the population on that side. So as I said, the president has had a very busy week, and he continues to do that to work for the Liberian people. So these are some of the issues I will talk to you about today. And thank you, as always, for coming to the press conference. And I look forward to taking your questions as we go. Thank you.
She's Madam Kula Fofana. She's the Presidential Press Secretary. And I'm right here with you, Emmanuel Kipad. And she's within the press. This executive mansion
Thank you so much.
platform.
I'm Julius, content and I work for Fortune Television. Two questions. Uh, there are so many issues in the country relative to the establishment of war and economic crime school in Liberia. What's the stand of the president? And number two, even though we were told or advised by you not to always follow the Facebook in getting information, but I did see on your Facebook post that you have a fruitful meeting with the South African ambassador and also interviews. I'd like to know latest update regarding that. Thank you.
More questions? Continue.
Well, thank you. My name is Aisa Bilal, EMT. Well, I would like to know as to what is the status of actual conversation as to being suspended by the president.
Press conference. Questions? Continue.
Okay, Morris E. Brown, for King 7. Quick one on presidential perspective. Pointing to talk about the president's passion team to make it now. And specifically, he used sectors, ministers, or directors to. The sticker issues that I saw the name of NBC, the National Bureau of Protection, and that place should be a tenure place. So, can you clarify to the public who represented the NBC? Thank you.
Wherever you viewing from, I'd like to welcome you.
Thank you, Madam Press Secretary. My name is Moses Fakulo, and I report for Loop 7. Yesterday, a video on social media emerged from Ghana at the Bujumbura camp, and we talked to people there concerning what was happening, and they confirmed that unidentified army believed to be hired by the Ghanaian government went to the camp and demolished their structures. And when we spoke to the LRC through this communication office, they said that budgetary constraint has been a main issue why they've not been able to repatriate the over 5,000 Liberians who voluntarily decided to come back to Liberia. They needed some 1.5 million United States dollars to do that under the previous administration, but only 240,000 of that amount was given. So with that situation in Ghana, what is the president's stance on that? What he intends to do about that?
Yes. My name is Famanta Thomas from the Boards of High School. In terms of national security, what steps are being taken to ensure the safety of citizens and address emerging threats? Thank you.
The press conference continues right
Today,
here.
my name is Mark Thomas from Tipari. Two concerns. One have to do with the issue of the president returned, former president returned to Liberia. I did saw visual release on your page talking about the president was denied, but there have been alleged information about the president was denied entries to the VIP law. I get that information. And two, we did talk about the issue about the USBP communication with the president. And what are the prospects in mind for the Liberian state to benefit as well? Because I know other recommendations coming to the president might be some prospects to it, might be some agenda being discussed as well. This is what I need.
My name is Paul Johnson. I report for Ghana. Follow up to the former president question. Who are those specifically in government that should use the VIP lodge at the Ramos International Airport?
Questions will continue.
All right, President Sarah,
Regular press briefing.
All right. Thank you all so much for the comment. Your questions. So I will start from the top. On your question on the issue of wars and economic crimes court, the president at the time he was candidate Wakai has consistently talked about his stance, and that stance remains that the issue of war and economic crimes court is a holistic approach for the administration. The bigger picture is not about targeting an individual. It is about understanding and telling the stories of where we've come as a country. And as you know, this country, we had a process, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And there is a report that is within our system. So the approach of the president in this administration is to ensure that its implementation is holistic. It's not just a piggybacking on one issue. On the issue of the meeting that I've held and your comment around Facebook, so my point about journalists, particularly relying on Facebook, for example, to get questions or issue, it was just from a stance where it's an encouragement that I wouldn't appreciate, or even you wouldn't appreciate, if you're in whatever space, somebody post and say, oh, this thing is happening, the sky is falling down, for example, and you just take the phone and call the aviation authority. Aviation, there's an allegation that the sky is falling down. What do you have to say to that? But as a journalist, there is an expectation that you do due diligence. If there's an allegation that the sky is falling down, have your people to go and see. Oh, is it the truth? Just to be able to get both sides of it. So that's my issue when I said Facebook shouldn't rely or will not be responding specifically to Facebook issues. So I encourage, and this is one of the things I want really, especially for you who are covering the executive mansion, and that will tie into your question and my response to my engagement that I've had over the weeks, is that if you're involved into this space, we must be able, as journalists, to get the facts, to follow the basic tenet. Journalism, like many professions, have their own guidelines and rules. You have to get the fact. You have to make sure it's accurate, it's balanced, it's credible. That fundamental of journalism must always be met. And the basic thing that they will tell you in 101, in journalism 101, for example, that you have to know the 5W1H. What is it? Why? Who is it? When? And you do a total due diligence. It will help you being able to, if you call me and ask me about specific, for example, there was a situation, oh, we got this information that this thing is happening, but you did not take that just from a one social media, somebody put in public, oh, there's this allegation, blah, 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 what do you have to say? You know? So I'm just encouraging you in coming back to the question of my meeting with the South Africans in Internews, and I also had a meeting with the Chinese. My goal for the office is to really see how we can build capacity of even my team, but more so with you journalists, because I know being in the sector for quite some time, I understand the challenges, but there are different media institutions. Some of us really do need trainings. We need training in even understanding our equipment, in understanding of how to cover the executive mansion. Covering the executive mansion is not the regular news feed that you just go, let me just cover and ask regular questions. It is not just that. There's a whole process, there's a whole back end of what needs to happen as a journalist. So my goal in this office is to see how we will help work with you. So my meetings that I've been having, for example, with Internews, in the South Africans, in the Chinese, is to really talk to them about, you know, what kind of support do they have? What programs are they offering? What can they do? So as time goes by, once we culminate those conversations into an actual activities based, you will be hearing from us on some of those trainings. We're hoping that some of those trainings can even be outside of Liberia, for example. But no promises just yet. This is just my intent to engage partners who I know they're in the sector. I know who are doing issues around communications, and some of you would really love to see some of you going for courses. And there are also tons of opportunities online that you can also benefit from. So our engagement with these institutions is to build, you know, network, build partnership to support our work that we do here. Because for us, it's not just because we're covering the executive mansion or the political, you know, aspect of all that, but our work, the most important part of our work is to inform the Liberian people, to give them credible information, to fact check our information so that whatever we're saying, we're speaking from the fact. So those engagements, we hope and pray that they come out with some fruitful results and that you all will benefit from them. So on the question of Cornelius, I really wish you did not ask that question, because if you, as a journalist, this is a senior, this is not the push on the spot, it is for everybody else. As a journalist, it's important to follow through. When this allegation came up, the executive mansion immediately released a statement that it was false, it was misleading, it was unfounded. At no time that Deputy Minister Paulina Kratoka was ever suspended. That did not happen, and the statement has been on our page. And I encourage all of you, you know, to follow us on, you know, the Executive Mansion page, that you can get actual credible information. And I mean, when that allegation was going around, you have access to this office, or you could have been posted in the chat room, and that question will be answered. So at no time that a suspension or even conversation around that happened. On the issue of brain equipment, content, the National Bureau. So you see, government is a system. Government is continuity. And the reason for which this administration is not trying to take on all of the government authority in one group of people. For example, say the executive do everything. There are sector ministries and agencies. So regardless of any administrations are moving, regardless of any issue, technical or whatnot, there are issues happening, and the issue relating to King George particularly, it's a concession area. It's part of Liberia's concession, one of Liberia's concession agreements that was signed, the MDA, through the government, by the government of Liberia and the company. So with that, because it's a sectorial issue, that's why the National Bureau was involved, or is one of those institutions that was highlighted to be part of that. On the issue of the situation in Ghana, I mean, and apologies, it was just an oversight, but it was one of my briefing notes I was going to let you know. It just skipped. But the situation, the president has been briefed about the situation on the former refugee camp in Bujumbura, and he's been briefed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the president have given the authority to the Minister of Foreign Affairs to ensure that the situation in Ghana is fully investigated to get the fact on what's going on. So now I can tell you that the Liberian embassy in Ghana is on top of it and is providing information as we get them, particularly through the Minister of Foreign Affairs. You people will be aware of that. But yes, the president is concerned, and the information has been received. Talking about in terms of the 1.5 million through triple RC, again, once the minister gave a full analysis to the president of what the situation is, he will make the appropriate decision on that. On the issue of national security, my sister from Marigidi, the security sector is one of the key areas that this government is interested in. Interestingly, under the government development plan, the arrest agenda, one of the R's stands for the rule of law. And this government, this country, the president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency President Joseph Boakai, takes the security of the state, the security of the people very seriously. And that is why he's working with all sectors of the country, particularly the security sector, to ensure that the security is strong. That's why when the situation in Kinjo happened, which was unfortunate, he immediately dispatched his team headed by the Ministry of Justice. The Liberian National Police is also under the Ministry of Justice. So yes, he's very concerned, and he's taking all the necessary action. He has a national security advisor who definitely can advise him on all of the security situation in the country. On the issue of denial of the former president, again, let me say this to the public. The former president, there is no intent whatsoever of this administration and the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, to by any means disrespect or demean or do anything out of the ordinary to a former president of the Republic. That is not the place of this administration, neither is it the place of any member of this administration, whether it's protocol or whatsoever. I just hope that the media will clearly communicate this to the public, that this administration will respect and will continue to respect all of our former presidents. And as you all know now, we have two former presidents, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and the immediate past president, George Weah. So there is no intent of this administration to do that. So speaking directly to the situation of the lounge, anywhere in the world, there are presidential lounges and there are VIP lounge. And in Liberia, we have two parts of our airport. We have the airport that is specifically for the passengers, the regular passengers, or even for business class passengers. They go through the regular airport, and there's the VIP lounge of our airport. And for the general place that all of us, go through, my recent travel I went through at the time I was in this post as well. Even where you're a business class passenger, when you have a business class ticket, you go to the regular airport in our situation because we do not have the fanciest of things. The business class people, when you get up in the airport, when you pass through immigration and everything, There's a lounge for business class people. You go and sit there once you have business class ticket. But if you are a regular passenger, you do not have business class ticket, you go and sit where the rest of the other people sit. And if you want to be treated as a business class passenger and you do not have business class ticket, you're going to charge you, pay some money, and go and access the business classroom. Because when you're there, they will tell you when the plane is coming, they get small snacks here and there, and all those things happen. Now, coming to the VIP. I was going to have one VIP, but the VIP is in segment. You have, and then you have the VIPs, including our former president. She uses the VIP. Now, before this new VIP, quote unquote, new VIP was completed or renovated, we only had one space. But even then, at that one space, there was a secluded area only for the president. And presidents will come in only for a sitting president, not former president. So with this current situation, it is just a simple matter. The presidential area in the VIP lounge is exclusively for a sitting president and not a former president. Even President Sirleaf uses the quote unquote old VIP lounge. And I hope that this clarification will end this conversation around presidential VIP. We agree, we understand that everybody is very important in the system. Like I said initially, there's no intent here whatsoever to look at somebody else in any form of way. So our protocol is very clear, and those issues, our protocol deal with them because they know by protocol places that are designated for presidents. Even if you're a former president, you cannot go there. Even you go to other countries, presidential area, when you say this is a presidential, only president can access it. So we hope that everybody understand this. Please, everybody, let's understand this, that, these things, we shouldn't even be making this as a big issue. I just hope that we'll not make this issue because the issues that are in our country is a lot. It's a lot. And our government, the country is really working hard to ensure that those issues are taken care of. For example, the situation, all of us woke up to the violent situation in Kinjong. That's how we had to have a quick press briefing to inform you how the president is, getting involved with it. We have issues of electricity. We're working on modalities to ensure that the rice price is reduced, including other commodities on the market. So those are the things that will make the Liberian people very happy. Those are the things that will make the Liberian people understand that your government is working for you. Our attempt to provide this information should be taken as the most important thing. And this is not to say that those issues are not important. It is not the intent. But I just want us, especially as journalists, to really look at the issues that matters to the Liberian people. On the issue of the did somebody say something on Boyman Johnson? Oh yeah, specific. Again, like I said, the presidential lounge is for president. The presidential lounge is for president. When you get there, in fact, in the presidential lounge, when you get there, you see the flag, you see the seal. So if you're not president, why would you want to go and sit, where president's supposed to be? So in terms of the specific people, those are, you should follow up with the protocol. But I just told you specifically that all other guests besides a regular, but all other guests, they have the VIP. Where currently, and we have a history, we have a reliance. Our current former president, I'm the not president, we are, but former president Ellen Johnson, not former president, we are, former president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, she always using the VIP. In fact, even when our president now was vice president at the time, he never used to use the presidential lounge. In fact, there was a small space that's in the open that he will go and sit there. You just have the securities around him. When he was former vice president, even when he was vice president, you do not access the presidential space. And I hope that this will end our whole president space, VIP and whatnot. It's just clear. When you're president, you use presidential You get presidential immunities, you use presidential, activities and whatnot. But if you're not, please, it's important for us to have this communication and communicate clearly with our people. So we'll take the final rounds of questions. We'll call this press conference to a close. And then, like I said, today, I didn't tell you that, today we'll be doing a tour of the executive mansion, especially places that are allowed, to give the public an appreciation of where we are, where we sit, what the challenges are. Hopefully, people can understand that sometimes the information that's out there is actually different from what's inside. Yes, we take
Any questions
Ellis.
will continue.
Thank you, Madam Press Secretary. We appreciate your uh, presence here always to give us information, especially for the Liberia people. You earlier on encouraged us about verifying our information and doing a check. So that's why I'm done one. So there was this video that was published online. The president in conversation with Dr. Alan White, which brought up serious public interest. So I felt that I should get to you to find out about this video, whether it is authentic. And your response to me was fake news. So following my fact checking, I realized that the video is authentic through fact checking tools that we did in collaboration with a recognized institution for youthful courses. So I just want to know whether you still stand by your statement that the video is fake news. And on February 11th, we had an issue with the EFL, of which the president addressed the nation and set up a committee to investigate in 2 weeks. And if my calendar is right, I think those 2 weeks have expired. Do we have any update on that report? And finally, uh, we have gone more than a month now. I asked you the last time about the president 100 days deliverable document. You said what I have is just a temporary. Do we have the final one out now?
All right, the regular press briefing here online.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam
Executive
Press
Mansion.
Secretary. My name is Sompon, and I report for Prime FM. Stephen Sompon is my name. There are an issue lingering in public space as it relates to attending positions. And on yesterday, the Supreme Court of Liberia, this is, let's say, the hot operations at the National Identification Registry. So I want to know the position of the government. Thank you.
It's live. Executive Mansion online platform. And there's
My name is Anthony Declan for IBC Radio.
more questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Two concerns. A few days ago, the President legal advisor told us that the president was setting up a committee to look into the tenure provision situation. Where are we with that? The next one is reports coming from Great Cape Mount are suggesting that more than one person died. Yesterday, the police or the government reported that one person has died so far from that incident. Where are we? Why the additional information from there? Thank you.
Thank you again for Martha Thomas from the Board of High School. Looking at our economy in this country, Liberia, there are serious challenges that we have, especially the aliens and foreigners taking over our entire economy. So, what is this government going to do to ensure that Liberians take over? You go into the market, you see aliens and foreigners. They have huge businesses. Taxes are very huge, and Liberians are struggling in terms of the business. So my question, how can we as Liberians fit into our own economy in our own country? Thank you.
Another question.
Thank you again. I'm Julius Quantum from Quantum Television. Again, I would just like to get the clarity of what actually prompted your post when you stated that this government will not be distracted into that Liberia has just one president, and it's Joseph William. I prompted that statement.
Well, thank you. My name is Aisha Iwana, here TV. Well, I want to know, for past 2 days now, the issue of our local currency has been a major issue. You take your money to places to purchase, people will tell you, I'm not accepting this, I'm not accepting that. And this is actually growing tension among our people. What's the view of the president with regard to the issue of currency?
Can you explain when you say you don't deny what the actual situation is?
So, for instance, there are classes or categories of bank notes. So, the central bank came up with not much publicity to reach out to the people, telling them by the 1st of March, certain portion of the bank notes will not be accepted. And as we speak, we still have those monies circulating in the public, and people are refusing a portion of them.
Thank you, Secretary. Mr. Secretary, my name is Dr. Babu, and I represent the Portfolio. Madam Secretary, has the government led by His Excellency President Boakai made the business competitive? Thank you.
We don't know. Other questions?
Yes, I am Ochigo Siwoton Angatian, a rep for the Happy newspaper. Yesterday, a story figure in the Happy newspaper with caution. Unity parties, the sorrows, call on President Joseph Boakai for recognition and deployment. In the story, they said that the all now can be paid, the pass through, by working through polluted waters, using the energy, and send the nomination and subsequent confirmation by the Senate. They are crying loud that our needs are yet to be mentioned. Is the president as an Oman or the Somalis are expectation?
Let's see. Other questions will follow. Oh, yes, the press secretary.
Good afternoon. My name is Dubeli Masale and I report for Sky Communications. I'm concerned about our staple food, rice. Recently, the Minister of Commerce and Industry said that they reduced the rice price of 25 cents. But up to now, the rice price on the Liberian market is still up there, about $3,500 to $3,600. What the government is doing to bring down the price for the Liberian people. Thank you.
Do we have other
Maybe the last
questions?
Thank you.
Clark.
Ask one. Last one.
How are you going today?
Yeah.
I'm Romeo from class. I have one concern which has to do with the war crime code issue. Like my brother just said, the president-elect with Allen White. What is the level of discussion as to relate to the war crime code? Because there are credible information coming out that the center for trial, where they will be using to trial those that were involved, will be Ghana, and the information is spreading widely, which means that the government has gone beyond certain level in the preparation, but Liberians are not yet informed. So, is there anything you have from the president concerning the war crime code?
All right, the press secretary.
Press secretary will address the
Again,
issues.
let me say a very big thank you to all of you. You know, sometimes some of these sessions I can just be smiling. But on a serious note, I will start with the last question. And one of the things that I've continuously said, especially for us, and my goal here is to really be able to push you journalists, and I really like your stance to really push you journalists to really go just beyond just the Facebook posting. Coming back to your question, and the hype in the country where people, I mean, one of the good thing about journalism, there are lots of information out there. It would be good sometimes that we also see and review other journalists, in other countries, how they engage these, engagement. Um, to be honest, sometimes these things you say, there are allegation out there or there are information out there. It would be good to really come most times with the specifics. So let's try to do that. My comment on the war and economic crimes could remains the same. This government, the president have always said the intent is not to target an individual. Questions surrounding if, when, how, and all those different things, you people will be in the know. Issues of justice system, setting up a system of accountability in what any form or manner. It is not something that you will do behind closed doors. It is not something that you will do in the night. It's something we have, and we are a country of law. We have three branches of government that work coordinatingly. You have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. And issues relating to that, there's a whole procedure on that. So when somebody tell you there is going to be this one happening tomorrow, or this thing is happening, please let's try to get the fact. It's not going to be something a hidden thing. Whatever the situation is, as you know, in fact, as you know, we currently have the Human Rights Commission. That was one of the recommendations, and we have commissioners who documented some of these things. In terms of the full implementation of the TRC report, we have if you get to the Human Rights Commission, for example, you'll be able to get information around how have these processes of accountability have they played out. But our role here, and that is one of the things when I talk about the issue of covering the executive mansion, our role is not to cover all subjects in the entire country. Subjects that directly relate to the presidency, issues that the president have said, things that the president have done, and everything connecting to the president is what. And I do understand that it has been some level because the Minister of Information had just gotten confirmed. LBS Director have not gotten confirmed yet. So a lot of things have been, and I don't have a problem once I have the fact and detail. I don't have a problem with sharing them with you, but I will let you know. And good thing is we're working. The information arm of the government is working coordinating. That's why you saw last evening how we organized the press briefing and people who are responsible for specific information. So I encourage all of you again to find the areas. If you have direct question around things that does not directly relate to the president, please reach out to those entities. And most of, if not all of those entities, have information officers to a point where there are some that have deputy ministers for public affairs, and those people will be able to take questions or issues surrounding those subjects. So on the issue of rights, that's why I was going to come on the issue of rights again. It's not in my purview to be giving updates on what the Ministry of Commerce has done. It's just for the interest of the president. So what is the interest of the president when it comes to the subject of rice? It is very high, I can tell you. I can tell you that the president put premium on it, showing that the country's staple food, beyond just getting importing rice, their whole conversation on food sufficiency, and it is a tied food sufficiency for Liberians to be food sufficient, and that is why even on the pillar of the arrest agenda, the number one is agriculture, and the president's agenda on agriculture cut across only showing that we are food sufficient. Uh, on the issue of United Partisans having a press conference or in the paper, somebody asked about it, saying that they want their names to be mentioned. I understand because I'm a Unity partisan, and I understand the issues and the challenges that is there. However, the president has been forming the cabinet, and the government is taking shape gradually. People have been coming on board not only from one political institution. And I'm sure all of you should be able to give the president some leverage here. that he has not just been somebody who is just appointing all his cabinet members as well as his ministers and other government officials just from one political party. I understand the issues, I understand the situation, and we do know that the president is very concerned. He's going to ensure that everybody, because when you're president now, you're not just president for your political party, you're president for Liberia, and Liberians want to work, and unity partisans are Liberians as well. So again, the president is as well concerned of everything. And the bigger question here is on job creation for everyone, and the president will take that very seriously. On the issue of local currency, like again, please let's try to get, please, and I'm just begging. This is from an honest place. If someone, as someone who I do not have all the answers, I I do not have a, for example, doctorate in communications. I will not know all the nooks and crannies of mass communication, even though my background is in mass communication, even though I have been a journalist, even though I studied and my first degree is in mass communication, but it's not about me. So the point I'm trying to make, I'm just begging all of you journalists, please do not take my comment here to you as personal or as maybe to say something, but that's not the intent. The intent is to encourage you all to do due diligence, to take the journalism profession very seriously. So some questions around just being general about currency here, this person not accepting, what are the facts? Again, I will say this. The reason I'm actually trying to find the right word to be correct in a way so you don't, so I don't come off as, saying something against you specifically, but some of these questions, please keep them for the Ministry of Information press briefing. Interestingly, let me give this announcement free of charge to Minister Pia. So Minister Pia, you make sure you owe me something here. But that was just a joke on the side. But the Minister of Information will be addressing the public on Monday. And those of your people who are covering other aspects of the government, please encourage them to go to the press briefing. I do not know the exact time. Those of you who connect with the Ministry of Information, please follow up and get the exact time so you're able to ask those specific general government questions on the economy, but also try to engage those particular sector ministers. If the Minister of Commerce, particularly on the issue of the currency, talk to the Minister of Commerce, talk to the Minister of Finance, or Minister of Finance. They have a whole public affairs department. If you need some contact details, you can talk to us off air. We can give you and provide those information. Again, please don't see this as an attempt to be down or please, I'm just trying my best to communicate as easy as possible. I hope this was not on live, but I'm here. I can just go on the side and answer your question on the side, but please let's just understand from that perspective. It's my honest effort to be able to respond to those. So what prompted my statement? Konto, it is just to say our role in government will not be to be reactive. I've said this from day one, from our very first press conference, if you all remember, when we were still at the rehab office, that our goal here is to be responsive, be informative, inform the public on what we are doing. And you will do me well. You will do all of us well. If before you see somebody put something on social media, and my comment was just like, okay, please journalists, because after some posting, somebody posted, oh, all the journalists are calling, oh, what are this thing? We've heard this thing, we've heard that thing. I will encourage, especially for those of you who are covering the executive mansion, let's try to get information. The reason why I said that, and this is across government, we are running a government now. We are running a government now. To run a government is not a day job. It's not a just, small job to just sit back and think that is an easy thing. So our goal here is to document things that the government is doing. And from our end is to document things that the president is doing that we're able to effectively communicate with all of you. So issues relating to those subjects that does not, or that they are not part of they do. I know the president is the president of the entire country, but they're not particular subject matter that the president is dealing with directly. Even though he deals with everything, but at least it will do all of us justice if you do more work with those sectors. If there anything that a sector cannot answer, and you know it's at a higher level, like the situation of last evening, yes, we understand this sector is injustice. People were rioting, somebody got killed, and all those different things. But the president did take an action. And the only reason why we had to organize it, because the president took an action by appointing his team, by also directing them to do XYZ. So because of the role he's played, active role, that's why we have to come together to jointly do that. Sometimes we hear the Minister of Information will brief the media. Sometimes you will hear the different sectors will brief the media. So my comment was just in that to encourage all of us. And again, we in Liberia, we like to make issue out of non-issue. And my comment on when I said the country has one president, I mean, how many presidents we have? It's just to say, so please let us just look at this and let's not make issues out of non-issue. As I mentioned, there's so many issues that we have to deal with. Very important ones. Issues of electricity, issues that are directly impacting the people, issues of health, the current security situation, like my sister from my duty talked about, the issue in Kipman. And these are top priority agenda items for the president. For those, I'm very happy to give you responses on what the government is doing, particularly the role of the president and how he's done those things. So please, let's not, complicate the situation. I'm sure I have covered everything. Alien, we talk about the Ghana situation, right? Oh yes, somebody mentioned on the 100-day deliverable. It is completed now. And remind me so I can get a copy and distribute it to you guys. So that's the major thing. On the issue of the committee, the president has leveraged to set up committees to investigate and report back to him, and those people are also working, and they've taken note of the current actions and activities from the Ministry of, from the courts, and they're working. That's why they advise the president. That's why the committee is important, and that's why the legal advisor is on top of that. Report from Cape Mount that more than one person. So I don't just want to be going back and forth. From our report, from our briefing as authority in the justice system, we've received one update in relation to one death. And that's what I've been reported as of the latest. My last conversation with our security advisor here, it was that the current status is that we still have one death, and which is still unfortunate regardless. It's still unfortunate, and there are people still undergoing treatment in JFK and in the county, and there are police officers who are still wounded, and the police are still, getting information. They're still finding the fact. So the issue of maybe one of the things you can also do when you receive these calls, you just reconnect with the county radio stations, the local radio stations, so they'll probably have updated information and then they'll be able to inform you. And then for JFK, for example, JFK is not far from where we are or from where you all are. We can all find means. You can go to JFK to, get the actual information. You go say, oh, I'm a journalist. I want to know the situation in Cape Mount. I heard they brought some people here. What's the status? They say, oh, let me find out from my boss man. But these are information. Once you're in the corridor at JFK, it won't hide. They will tell you, oh, the people they brought from Cape Mount, one person, still critical, or they moved them to this other triage, or this is the situation. Like that, we can have a clear conversation. Then you have the actual, but to say, oh, it's reported that there are more deaths than one, and what we have, that we do not have interest to hide any information. When we had that one death, we came in and now we could have said that nobody died. We intended to hide anything off of it. We can't do that. We've been very transparent and we intend to remain transparent. If we have any more information of more than one casualty or more than one death, you people will be informed. So please, let's be able to do due diligence. Aliens and foreigners. Oh, somebody talked about the economy. aliens and foreigners are, I mean, again, that's speculation in law, that's what we say. But I do know the concern. It is something that a lot of people still talk about, how there are other nationals that are in our business sector. And one of the things that the president is he does all the time, any issue relating to the economy, that's why he has more than one economic advisor. He has several economic advisors. I think he has two now. And he have other sectors. So, for example, issue of business, he will relate to his finance minister. He will relate to his commerce minister. He will also listen to his economic advisors, on that particular subject. So he's doing that, and the entire aspect of, in fact, just this morning, I just wish we can effectively communicate how our president really thinks about this country. Any opportunity we have, he tells the country, he tells us about how the reason for which he's even in the seat is to ensure that people in the community, people in the counties get a better life. So every day, I wish some of you who were here last night, you saw when the president was leaving the office. Sometimes the president stays here up to 9 p.m. just having meetings with economic people, having meeting with business community. If somebody asks a question about whether he met with the business community, he has a meeting with all the time. All the time he's meeting. Even today, he had a meeting with people who are interested in investing. I did talk earlier on about the meeting he held with the partners of Simenco and their plans on what they do. So yes, he's been having individual meetings with institutions. So yes, he intends to continue that as he moves, forward to. Before I forget your question, on the issue of the recording. I mean, you all of us should learn from one another. I mean, like I said, when you reached out yesterday, we were in this preparation of this press briefing prior, and the video that I didn't even, when you said there's an Island White video going around. What I said was, because the president have not had any recent meeting with Island White. So on that basis, it wasn't a recent video to say he's having active conversation with Alan White. So again, any issue relating to war and economic crimes code, I've clearly articulated or stated the president's plan and the president's agenda. So the video circulating around is not a recent video. That is the most recent information that is. And I did probe my team, particularly the team that's in charge of security of the president, all those issues. We go to sector ministers, and that is the information as we have it. On the issue of the AFL wives, I think that's the last one, right? Yes. On the AFL, the process is on. The thing with the security sector, that's not all the little time. There's some details that cannot be divulged to the public, but the process is on, and the chief is committed in showing that Liberia becomes a better place. So whatever we can do to help the different sectors, we'll continue to do that. And the president is very committed, on showing that he works for the Liberian people. He comes to work early, he leaves very late. Sometimes we're here, he takes very short rest. But his commitment to the country is very strong. His commitment to developing our country remains strong. As we said, sometimes he just talked about the children for the education, their health. So thank you all. I look forward to briefing you all again and wishing you all a pleasant weekend. However, we're going to start the tour, as we said. We're going to tour the executive mansion because it's also good for some of you who are covering this space. You've not been here. It will be good for you to see. I have done it. I've seen this place. I'm here working, but I mean, we'll leave that to the outcome of that. So apologies, like I mentioned earlier. Well, you already know I want to talk about this. But again, thank you all. We look forward to engaging with you in future of this coming week. Thank you.
And that's the
Bye-bye.
voice of the Presidential Press Secretary, Kula Fofana, running up this regular weekly press briefing here on grounds of Executive Mansion, live on Executive Mansion
Yeah, yeah,
online.
yeah.
I'm Emmanuel Kepak. Thanks for